Hi, I'm Lakshi. I'm a storyteller, but I have been practicing theatre since I was in 9th class. It's been a great question for me. What is it that I like to do and how it aligns with my principles? So I have done numerous kinds of jobs, brand-centric jobs, people-centric, individual-centric jobs, which were only feeding and fulfilling one individual's prosperities. But then I later realized I want to do something for people, and बाद में realized that if I want to do something for people, I need to be with the community. I cannot do that alone. I've tried that, it's very exhausting. I'm a political science honors graduate, and the kind of theatre that I practice, it's a political theatre / theatre of the oppressed, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, on the top of my mind right now. Yeah. I am doing this fellowship. I'm part of Digital Swaraj fellowship offered by Digital Empowerment Foundation. I've been working since I was 19 years old. This is my third non-profit organization. I've been exploring various fields, and then I'll see what suits me the best. I was assigned Chanchalguda, Hyderabad. It's a part of Hyderabad district. My projects were to research about the menstrual hygiene supplies. Second, to train and create 10 master trainers which will further teach / educate in their communities. And third was to document 10 case stories of on-ground people जहाँ पे DEF ने intervene किया है and we have made an impact in their lives. I wanted to document that, and the rest of the parts, what was my approach. So this was the first time a research project officially was given to me. It was challenging initially, but with the help of my mentors and supervisor, and you've been there by our side since first day. So it was doable. My approach was initially to go slow, to not just march in there and say that I came here from DEF and I want to teach you. My approach was to create a safe space for them where they can just be, because I was assigned to educate women, and when it comes to women specifically in such sensitive areas, women have been forced to not speak up. And it was very challenging and sensitive for me to make a safe space for them so that at least they can speak up, and then I'll think about and then I'll move to my project. So from the day one, it was not just about my project. It was about I am there, and now what I'm doing as a person, as a human being, what's my approach, not as an employee. But then later on I realized that I need to catch up with the employee thing as well, because an organization is looking after me, right? And I need to answer certain questions, I need to report. Then that's why I was suggested that I speed up the process, and I think that is where the learning journey came up. Initially I was in my comfort zone that I will create a safe space, I will talk, engage, but then I was asked to speed up, and that is where the learning curve, shaped. This was my approach. Outcomes of the project were that I came to know after the survey and engaging with the community that they've been asked to drop out of schools when they are 15 or 16, and then they are suggested to marry. And I'm very humbly and politely putting the word suggested. Actually, they are more of like forced to marry at 15 and 16. वो expectation setting बचपन से हो जाती है. So it's a very psychological thing that when you are 15, 16, you yourself think, okay, I need to stop studying. So, and then I need to marry. Second thing, when it comes to menstrual hygiene intervention को लेके, they were only aware about using cloth pads and disposable pads. It was very shocking to me कि वहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोगों को cloths के बारे में इतना नहीं पता है, disposable pads के बारे में पता है, because I've been there on field and people use cloths, as in women use cloths, but वहाँ पे people use disposable pads, but it was not about the material supply, it was about the behavior, how people behave with them when they are on their periods. So that was the new subject for my study ki okay, I am asked to research about the supplies, but here I am learning ki okay, it's not about the supplies, it's about the behavior. it has been very toxic, immensely toxic. So outcomes were that with supplies we also need to I thought about what if we intervene with counseling sessions, because behavioral impact is required there. So yeah. I've always said that being political and apolitical is not a given choice. It's a privilege. For me, it was not a choice, and I've always, since my childhood, I've always been political due to the conditions outwards. So from day one, from the day I can remember, my approach has always been aggressive for transformation, for transitions, for revolution. That if you do not like this, if you want women to behave in a specific way, I won't. So I have always been like this, I've done that, and that has worked, but it contains so much violence, emotional violence, verbal violence, physical violence. I didn't know that there is another way, there is another approach. During rural immersion, it was the very day one when I was wearing a tank top and I went outside, and community had certain problems with it, the way of the clothes that I was wearing, the way I was getting engaged with the shopkeepers, etc. So they came to the DC, district coordinator of our center, and they said that, this is not right, these people are gonna teach our children. And I laughed out loud, but at the same time I felt ki had it been older version of Lakshi, I would have gone ki, no, they don't like this, I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna change myself. I'm here to make a revolution, make a change. Why would I change myself? But then I realized there is another way. There is a way where I'm asking them ki I need for you to change, but at the same time I'm providing them space. That take your space to change, take your time to change. And that's a smooth transition. And that's what I learned, that there is another way, which is hard, which requires a lot more faith, patience, perseverance, but yeah, it works. Being a part of this city, I've been born and brought up in Delhi. We had TV, computer and mobile phones since I can remember. So it didn't occur to me that it can be a much problem, but when I went there, Chanchalguda, I remember visiting houses where there was no TV, there was no phone, and I was worried, then what is the source of information that you're getting? Be it about politics, be it about anything that's happening around, be it about schemes, be it the generic information. What is the source of information? And I came to know the source of information is talk. And then I sat with myself and when I analyzed this approach ki talk is the only source of information, I realized ki sabse zyada, when you believe people talking about something, that means आप misinformation को scope दे रहे हो. बहुत सारे fact check नहीं हो रहे हैं, बहुत सारी misinformation हो रही है, झूठ है, exaggeration हो रहा है, काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें miss out हो जाती हैं, context set नहीं हो रहा है. But अगर आप एक specific credible source से, be it online, be it news channels, on online news channels or online websites, articles, etc., YouTube, ये अगर आपके source हैं, credible source है, तो you can believe it ki okay, this is coming from 80 people who have surveyed, who have researched, this is coming from a reporter, this is coming from a journalist, etc. I can believe in it. But believing on someone else's word, it's not always wrong, but just completely relying on it for every information it occurred to me it's very risky, it's very horrible. You don't see, this is how misinformation spreads. तो वहाँ पे that's when I realized कि ये menstrual hygiene को लेकर भी यहाँ पर जितने taboos बने हुए हैं, this is how it has been spread कि one person says something and वो 4 लोगों में जाता है, 4 लोगों से 40 लोगों में जाता है, and people are believing in it. So I realized if we want to stop misinformation, if we want people to do fact checking, considering the pluralism that has been happening in India, जो riots हो रहे हैं, जो दंगे, this all ये सब प्राइमरीली इसलिए हो रहा है बिकॉज मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन तो है ही, बट फैक्ट चेक भी तो नहीं हो रहे हैं. समथिंग अपीयर्स somewhere some people say something कि हाँ ऐसा हो रहा है अभी वहाँ हुआ था, we believe in that. We don't do our part of the research. We don't read about it. So I felt like कि yeah, if we have devices, we can utilize it in that way. I mean, it occurred for the very first time. Having a device means you are breaking that loop of misinformation. So I think yeah, if we really want to intervene and break these taboos and educate them, digitally intervene करना तो बहुत major part play करता है उसमें. Like I mentioned before, every time transformation and transitions has been aggressive for me. This was a smooth transition, and having faith in people seems very. It feels like, and specifically as a woman, it feels like कि बहुत आसान है, but when you're on ground, having faith in people, and as a woman in men, it's very hard. And I think for me, the takeaway is you need to give everybody a chance. My learning journey has been that everybody is coming with their own, problems, baggages, etc. And every community has its own pros and cons. The community that I am coming from has its pros and cons. So if I am questioning the other community, I need to also acknowledge that my community also has its own pros and cons. And yeah, the learning journey has been giving everybody a chance. Yeah, so this was the time when I was documenting my case stories, and I came along few students who shared violence stories at their home, at their place, and shared that they've been forced to do certain things, forced to practice certain things, and I was just sitting and they're breaking down in front of me, and I had nothing to say, and the feeling of helplessness shook me away. Like even as a social worker, we barge in there, we barge in communities, and we feel we are the ones who are going to make the change, and I was sitting there just like helpless with empty hands. What is it that I can do other than holding her close? As leader of digital change, I think during this 1 month of rural immersion, most of my focus was again the source of information, logo ka. I think, and second bit was education. And I feel at this point of time, education without any tools, without any digital tools, it's just not feasible, it's not accessible, वो अधूरी है. और I know it seems doable when you have books, etc., but no, it's not. When you have digital tools, you have accessibility to a bigger world, to a wider library, to a lot more people that you can easily connect with. So I feel for me, if I want to focus on that, let's break the loop of taboos, let's break the loop of misinformation, and let's educate people so that we don't have riots, so that we don't have hate speeches like we've been having these days. I think digital plays an important role when it comes to rural areas. Urban areas, that's a different subject for study, but rural areas I think that's the first intervention we can do that I learned in my journey. So I think I might be focusing on that.